pit. The car zoomed along winding roads down the California coast. Again, the crowd cheered. One attendee screamed, "You did it!" Musk commanded the stage, telling his audience that Tesla had already received more than 115,000 deposits of $1,000 each, a $115 million boost in cash to the company. Within weeks, Tesla would claim more than 500,000 reservations. It was a staggering figure, 32% more than Toyota Motor Corporation sold that year in the U.S. of its popular family sedan archetype, the Camry. And these were reservations, people lining up 2 years before the car would even be produced. The Tesla team had devised a plan to slowly start making cars, with the goal of having a few thousand ready by the end of 2017, then boosting their capacity week by week through 2018, until finally reaching the goal of 5,000 cars a week by the middle part of that year. That volume, 5,000 cars a week, 260,000 cars a year, was a widely held benchmark, a defining figure of what it meant to be a viable factory in the stable of a major car maker. If Elon Musk and Tesla hit it, they could become a new force in the automotive industry. But even that wasn't enough for Musk. He was already boasting that by 2020 he could get production at the company's single assembly factory outside Silicon Valley to 500,000 vehicles in a single year, twice as many as most car factories in the U.S. It is hard to overstate just how crazy this would sound coming from anyone other than Elon Musk. Automakers typically take 5 to 7 years from the start of designing a new vehicle to delivering it to customers. It's a tedious and complex process, refined over generations of experience. Before a new car hits dealer showrooms, it's tested in the desert, the Arctic, and the mountains. Thousands of suppliers contribute to the effort, building parts with astonishing precision for vehicles that will ultimately be pieced together in factory blitzes, choreographed to the second. But for all of his startup gumption, undeniable ambition, and vision, walking off the stage that day, even with pre-orders pouring in, Musk couldn't escape the inexorable financial logic learned over a century by the likes of GM, Ford, and BMW. The process of making cars is a brutal business, and an expensive one. And Elon Musk's books were a disaster. Tesla was burning, on average, $500 million a quarter and had only $1.4 billion free cash on hand, meaning Tesla was on track to be out of money by the end of 2016 if something drastic didn't change. But this was all part of the confidence game he always knew he'd have to play if he were ever going to create the world's most valuable automaker. Belief created the vision. The vision would create a market. The market would create cash, and cash would create cars. He just had to do it on an unimaginable scale and do it fast enough to stay a car's length ahead of competitors, creditors, customers, and investors betting against the company through a process called short selling that could pay handsomely if Tesla's stock plunged in value. It was, he knew all too well, a dangerous race. Or, in his darker moments, the ultimate game of chicken. In June 2018, a little over 2 years after Musk's glitzy reveal of the Model 3, I visited him deep inside the cavernous Tesla Inc. assembly factory, half an hour outside Silicon Valley. Musk looked weary. In a cubicle on the factory floor, he was dressed in a black Tesla t-shirt and jeans, his 6'2" frame hunched over an iPhone. His Twitter account streamed taunts from short sellers. Some of the world's most powerful investors were wagering against him, predicting his imminent failure. His email inbox contained new messages from a recently fired employee accusing the CEO of cutting corners and putting lives at risk. Over his shoulder, the body shop towered. It was the greatest expression yet of Musk's vision, a mechanical beast that ate raw parts at one end and spit out cars at the other. 2 stories tall, with more than 1,000 robot arms anchored to the floor and hung from the ceiling, it was a gauntlet for the car skeleton.